Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick. This is your number one non-boring source for personal development. Today on the line, we have John Holland. He is one of the most respected psychic mediums and spirit messengers on the world stage. He's author of Spirit Whisperer, and today we're going to talk about how you can tap into your soul senses, much like John does. You can learn more about John at johnholland.com. John, thank you for being on today's Full Potential Show.
Glad to be here, James. How you doing?
I'm doing great, John.
Great.
I want to learn a little bit more about what it is that you do exactly. I know you go on world stages and you help people to tap into people that have crossed over.
Absolutely.
How do you do that?
Well, it's an ability, James, that I've always had as a kid. And, you know, in society, I was called weird, strange, so I hid the ability. And an automobile accident awoke the abilities when I lived in Los Angeles, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. And I had to get through doubting myself, skeptics, judgment, so I let it all go. And the more I let it go, I started studying about psychic abilities. How is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? How the hell do I shut it off? That was the big thing, too. And then 2 years into doing readings, I never quit my day job, though. Always kept my full-time job. And then people on the other side started showing up. So imagine we're all intuitive, James. We're all born with the soul, and with that comes your soul senses. So it's an ability we're born with. Kids are very psychic. Listen to a kid. If they're telling you, I don't like someone, if they're under the age of 7, listen to that child, because they're seeing the person. Kids start school at the age of 7. They start leaving the creative side of the brain and start using the analytical side to study, to listen to teachers, to read. So we push intuition away, but we're all one big psychic antenna, James. Now, most people, they either see, feel, or hear information. Most people who are clairsentient to feel. James, have you ever met someone that you don't like and you don't know why?
I definitely.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets the vibes.
Absolutely. That's clairsentient. You're a good feeler. Somebody who's a feeler, they can walk into a room, say, I don't like the feel of that furniture. I don't like the feel of that picture. I don't like the feel of that person. So they're feelers. And you just have to ask yourself, what am I feeling now? If you meet somebody new, how do I feel about this person? And if it feels negative, don't just go with the negative. Ask yourself also, why do I feel negative? Some people see information. Artists dream a lot. They're clairvoyant. Some people who are clairvoyant, they walk into a room. I don't like the look of that picture. I don't like the look of that furniture. I don't like the look of that person. So it's the wording that they use too to give you a clue. So clairvoyance, you close your eyes before you go into a meeting or you meet someone and ask to be shown an image. And your symbol is going to mean different things to different people. Some people hear information. James, have you ever heard your name being called, nobody's there?
Yeah, maybe in like a sleep, like in
Absolutely.
my yeah,
And spouses do this all the time. Spouses do this all the time. They'll yell up the street. They'll yell up the stairs. What do you want? And then the husband will yell to the wife, I'm not calling you. But he might have been thinking of her. So she picked up that thought. So that's another way. Clairaudience. People who are clairaudient, they know when somebody's lying. Some clairaudience hear that ringing in their ear, not tinnitus. Okay. It's and sometimes you're in the business, James. Have you ever heard a song playing in your head out of the blue?
I have, yeah, especially like classical music and stuff.
Absolutely. So you know what you do, James? Instead of saying, how stupid, how crazy, I can't get the song out of my head, ask yourself, what's the title of the song? What's the words of the song? Because your soul, your guide, your intuition, someone's trying to get your attention.
John, you know, I didn't even think of it until you said this, but on the way here today, and I'm not making this stuff up, on the way here, out of the blue, and I didn't have the radio on, I had no music on since the morning. It was a song. It was like "Keep on Believing," and I can't even think of the melody right now.
Right.
But it was like, and then I was like, and then I tuned into it, and I felt like that was a message. So maybe that was a message for today's show too.
Absolutely. Keep on believing. And you know what I tell people too, James? Psychics, I mean, we get this image because people watch television and they portray us in, not the way that we really are. Look at me. I'm just a guy in New Hampshire from Boston, Massachusetts, so I'm just extra sensitive. And, I help people a lot on stage by connecting them with their loved ones. And that's, if I can reach more people by shows like yours and the books that I have out, I feel I'm doing my job.
So, John, I hear you say that everybody has the power to tap into their soul sensitivity because the soul has these senses. Yes. And the more we sort of throw out the linear, logical thinking, the more we can start tapping into our higher intuitive awareness.
Right.
What I'm wondering about you, my friend, is, you're tapping into whole new levels. So does that mean that you've just got an ultra refined sensitivity to this other side.
They say, James, I studied this work in England, synchronistic events. That's another way your soul's trying to get your attention. Watch for synchronicities happen. If you're looking for a job and somebody calls you, you're hearing the same name or same sentence more than once, twice, 3 times in a day, stop and say, wait a minute, something's trying to get my attention. But I believe they taught us in England, some mediums are born, not made. I believe we all have the ability to do this work, but it takes a certain constitution, physical makeup to do this work as a career, because I am the vessel. It's a lot of work.
John, what do you think makes you different than someone who just really wants to communicate with the other side? I mean, and is it like a clear channel? Is it like you're hearing it word for word, or are you picking up on things?
I will hear, see, and feel information. It comes in different ways. It depends, how they want to come through, but I usually feel and hear the words, and I just repeat what I hear, and I just give what I get, and people are, they're blown away. But remember, too, with this work, so am I. Maybe I am made a little extra sensitive, but I'll tell you this ability is on my mother's side of the family. It's throughout the Italian lineage of for generations. So literally my first book, Born Knowing, I was born this way.
John, do you tune into this stuff all the time? Is it like...
No, God, I have a life. I try not to. A lot of people say, I studied how to shut it off, James. And the people who are doing this work who say that they're constantly bothered, either they're letting it happen or they don't know how to shut it off. Because, I'm going out right after this, after another interview. I'm going to go meet some people at down in town for a meal. I'm not seeing dead people around their pasta or around their hamburgers or while they're sucking on a Budweiser, so I open up when I'm supposed to.
Got it. And so it's really like how we can turn on our attention to anything we want. We just have to focus our intention there.
Yeah, and I learned how the mechanics of this work. I learned the energy centers, about the aura, how to open up, close down. So there, and I teach this. I teach it. If the ability's there, people are fascinated. It does happen. But I'm still amazed by this work, James. When something comes, remember, the information's not coming from me. It's coming through me, from the other side, or from psychic ability, which is from you. I still get blown away. I don't know who gets more blown away on stage, is me or the people receiving the information, because it's not coming from me, it's coming through me.
And you know what, John? I think that many creative types can relate. If they're creating a book,
absolutely.
If they're creating art. I know that when I was writing my book, I would go back to read what I wrote, and I'd go, I didn't write that.
Right.
In the sense of, wow, like I'm learning from what I just wrote.
Absolutely. It's called inspiration in spirit. So I'll be watching television. Writing is tough for me. I'm getting better at it after 5 books. But sometimes I'll be watching television, have nothing to do with, not even thinking about my work or what I'm writing. In comes these words. It's coming from somewhere. Call it your soul, your guides, God. I don't care what it is. That's why I have a microphone or a pen and paper beside me, because these words of wisdom come through, James, and I'm blown away. And I'm the same way. I've read my books and I went, who did that? So it's inspiration. So sometimes we don't know where it comes from, but I'll take it.
I also notice, like in speaking, you can speak something, and especially when you're passionate about it, it flows through you, and later the ego will come back in judgment of the presentation or of that performance.
Absolutely.
Do you find that happens when you're channeling?
When I was in England, they would give you, in front of a class when you're studying, that you pull one word out of a bag or a hat. You have to get up there in front of people and just go. So it's called inspiration. It's great that I give information to people, like your mother's here. She's talking about the dog that just passed, or who's lucky, whatever it is. But for the people who don't get messages, now I just did Australia, audiences of 2,000 people. Not everybody got a message, obviously. But they got some inspiration, they got some wisdom. As long as the people are walking away with an education or inspiration, I feel that's great.
Yeah, and that's really the energy that you get out of when you connect with that deep core.
Absolutely.
I think it spreads. People feel that when they say, oh, that's truth. What he's saying is true. It's because you're connecting with the core, and now they're connecting with you, connecting with the core.
Right, and they feel like you're talking directly to them.
Yeah. Now, John, let's talk about how we can carry this work out for ourselves. How we can, because we all have souls. Everybody who's watching and listening right now, we all have souls.
They better.
We hope, or you should probably not be watching right now. Go somewhere. You have these senses. You may not be tuning into them. John, what recommendations do you have for folks that are watching or listening right now that maybe want to take that sensitivity to the next level?
Well, we're such in a busy world between technology and traffic and traveling. it always comes back to meditation. And I understand that too. Do I meditate as much as I should? No, I'm still a guy. I'm still human, okay? But try to take 5 minutes in the morning, just 5 minutes before you start your day. And some people say, I don't have 5 minutes. Then get up earlier, okay? Quiet in the morning before, because we start our day what? Some people grab their coffee, hop on email. That's how they start the day. Years ago, there was no television. They would start, looking at the sun, or 5 minutes before you start your day. And just ask yourself, just breathe and say, what do I need to know today? You may get one word of wisdom. You may hear it. You may see something. You may feel something. And play with your intuition too, James. If you work in an office where there's 3 elevators, which one's going to come up first? All of us have email, okay? Remember when we had only one email account? All right, now we have a few. Ask yourself, before you do the email, how many emails am I going to have in my inbox? What is my boss going to wear? What is my girlfriend going to wear when I see her? Play with that ability. It doesn't have to be this this chanting, you know what I mean? It's just play with it. It's just like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it'll get.
I like it. So what I hear you say is 5 minutes in the morning, open up to receive that synchronicity by saying, what do I need to know today? And then it's going to show up in synchronistic events because now you're open to it. You're not shut.
Absolutely. And with the meditation, remember, some people haven't done it. Even 5 minutes, they're going to be twitching. They're going to be thinking. Just go back to your breath, just because it's going to come in. Other thoughts are going to come in. Just go back to the breath and just breathe and just focus on your breath, because the mind chatter will try to stop you.
Yeah, so true, John. I don't think there's anything as such as ADD. I think we're in an ADD society, and we have to release ourselves from that by doing what you're talking about. So relax, meditate, open yourself up to receive, and then challenge yourself through the day and ask yourself, I like that. I like that. So you have all these questions. Now, in your books, The Spirit Whisperer,
yes,
or drop The Spirit Whisperer, what is it that you hope people take away from that? And then I want you to tell folks where they can pick up a copy.
They can get it from johnholland.com, but Spirit Whisperer is part 2 to my first book, Born Knowing. The Spirit Whisperer talks about people on the other side. I talk about reincarnation. I talk about when the A&E people took me blindfolded to a location, and I gave them a scene. I take them right through what I was going through with it. I talk about children. There's a whole section on there on children, and parents can read it, and teachers to help kids that are intuitive or very sensitive. There's a huge chapter on animals. I'm a huge animal advocate. Ever since I got my dog, I just fell in love with them. When I'm not working, James, I'm at a vet clinic volunteering working with a veterinarian clinic, a veterinarian. So there's a whole set, because animals, they go to the other side. And some animals are like they're people's kids if they don't have children.
Tell me this, John. For everybody that's watching and listening right now, is people from the other side always trying to cross over and tell us something, or do they move on?
I think they come back and forth, just like we can pick up a phone, call whoever I want. I think that when you need somebody from the other side, I think they're there, but we don't notice the signs. There's many ways for everyone who's listening that your loved one's trying to get your attention. Some people dream of their loved one. They're healthier, they're younger, the person looks, radiant. Trust that dream. If you're having a dream of someone that passed away and they're trapped and you're running or there's darkness, that's not them. That's you trying to work it out in your head or your mind, the bereavement. Sometimes you may smell your mother's cologne, and then you're blaming your daughter for spraying the bottle when in fact the kid didn't touch it. So that's another way that they come through. Some people find pennies, shiny pennies, and I'm talking about pennies on the bed they just made. Sometimes lights blink, James, and people are blaming the light bulbs when in fact it could be your loved one. They're trying to get your attention all the time. We just need to focus on that. And I also talk about the signs in Spirit Whisperer. It's called Heaven's Calling Cards. And like you asked, johnholland.com.
johnholland.com. The book is called Spirit Whisperer. John is definitely tuned in to a higher source.
That's right.
And John, we all want to know how to heighten our senses. Now, can we learn how to do that in the book as well, the Spirit Whisperer?
Oh, I got many books. Yeah, go to my site too, guys. And I've got this wonderful tarot deck that I created, and it's doing really well. It's an app too. Go to my site, johnholland.com. You'll see you can do the deck yourself. You open up the deck and you choose a card. You can use that for wisdom every day. So there's a great book too called Psychic Navigator. Small book that I wrote. Everything is at johnholland.com.
Okay, that's johnholland.com. We got a tarot deck, Psychic Navigator. If you want to tune in to a higher source and start really accentuating your soul senses, I encourage you to check out johnholland.com. John, so great to have you on the show and sharing your insights with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, James. Thank you for your work also.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Take care, buddy.
Thanks. Okay. Have a good night.
You too.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of The Full Potential Show, your number one non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like The Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? Reduce your work hours? Travel the world? Enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you know you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.